The man had been drifting in the river for 3 days and nights. Just as he was about to drown, he finally reached the shore, but the temperature on land was minus 20 degrees. To avoid freezing to death, he had to run through the forest like crazy. Even though his body started warming up, his clothes were still turning to ice, so he found a clearing and tried to start a fire to dry his clothes. He pulled out a pack of bullets from his backpack. With trembling hands he cut open one of the casings, but the powder inside was already soaked. Then James cracked open a second bullet. Luckily the powder was still dry. He broke up some dry twigs and piled them up, then aimed the tip of his knife at the bullet to ignite it, but his hands were too cold. James just couldn't keep the blade steady, so he propped it up with a stick and started hitting it with a rock. Finally the fire came to life. That moment felt like pure warmth. James didn't have time to enjoy it. He quickly took off his soaking wet clothes, but his left arm had been shot long ago. If he didn't treat the wound soon, things would get really bad, so he disinfected it with alcohol. The pain hit so hard it nearly brought him to tears. He shoved a cloth into his mouth, wiped the blood off his knife with his pants, and dug out the bullet casing. Good thing James had incredible willpower. He stuck the knife into the fire to sterilize it with heat. As smoke rose from the blade, the bleeding finally stopped. James lay on the ground, thinking he could finally rest, but he didn't know his enemy Brian had smelled the smoke and was already leading a team of bounty hunters his way. As the sound of hooves got closer, James realized danger was right behind him. He jumped up, grabbed his clothes and ran into the forest. To buy himself time and confuse the enemy, he deliberately ran in a circle, then escaped from a different direction. That left 3 separate trails. He also used branches to erase his footprints, then climbed up a nearby tree. But Brian wasn't that easy to fool. He saw the footprints and split the bounty hunters into 3 teams. Meanwhile James's wound reopened from all the movement. He stayed perfectly still in the tree, but drops of blood on the snow gave him away, and to make it worse, one of the bounty hunters was already right under the tree.